as you create the state of being you prefer to be in. One of self-empowerment, one of joy, one of passion, one of creativity, one of love. There is no room in that vibration for fear, self-doubt, paranoia. When you exist in that state, what you will do over whatever time frame is comfortable for you is you will shift yourself slowly or quickly from one parallel version of Earth to another, to another, to another, to another. And each of those will be more and more and more and more reflective and representative of the state of being you have created within yourself. The truth is, you never change the planet you're on. You change yourself and shift to a parallel reality version that's already more representative of the change you've made within yourself. And thus you see the people populating that version also being more reflective of people who have like-mindedness to the state of being you have created within yourself. So you don't have to worry about the idea of those that might have negative intentions on the planet you may be on at this moment, because if you shift your vibration sufficiently to what you prefer it to be, you won't be on the same planet anymore in the very next moment. If you understand that you're already shifting, literally, this is not a metaphor, literally billions of times per second through various parallel versions of Earth, so quickly, so smoothly, you don't even know you're doing it. You think that when you see a change of any kind, you think that change is happening in the same world. It's not. The change is indicative of the fact that you have shifted to another planet. Literally. This is one world. This is another. Literally. In the course of this conversation, we have all shifted simultaneously by agreement through billions of parallel versions of Earth in order to even create this conversation. So when you get a handle, as you say, on the fact that you're already shifting, then you don't have to learn to shift. You just need to direct the shift according to the vibrational state you prefer to be, and that will allow you to experience more and more in every way, every day, a reflection of the reality you prefer that you've created within your own being, within your own consciousness. And it doesn't matter what anyone else's intention is, because they're another reality entirely. I understand that you may still be able to observe them from a neutral position, because that's still the definition of your reality, is that you're going to be okay with allowing yourself to perceive people that are vibrationally incompatible with what you prefer. That's all right. But that's just a neutral observation. You don't have to assume that they have any ability to affect you in any way you don't agree to be affected. Now, here's the secret to a lot of the people that operate in those negative realms. They don't actually have as much power as they want you to think they have. But they are very good at disseminating information that gives people the impression they are more powerful than they are, so that when you believe they are more powerful than they are, then they are more powerful than they are, because you buy into it and you believe it. That's the secret. When you stop buying into that, you'll see them as people equal to you, who have no ability to affect physical reality as something to manipulate, which it's not from the outside. The idea is that as you change, physical reality on the outside has no choice, like the reflection in the mirror, but to change. However, here's where many of you get a little bit stuck. We recognize that what you have created as a physical reality, space-time experience, has a little bit of a time lag, has a little bit of an idea of volumetric space and time. Things take time. So, when you do create a change within your belief system within, the idea is that you will see a reflection from the outside world, but you may not see it right away. The idea is that what you may see first is what we call an echo of what you have already created. The idea being that the same situation may crop up as cropped up before. Now, we know that many of you, when you see the same situation crop up, when you see it appear before you, may sometimes, because of how you're taught to think of yourselves, go into self-recrimination and self-doubt and self-devaluation and say, I must be doing something wrong. Something is wrong with me. Why isn't the outside reality changing to reflect what I know has changed within me? But the idea is there's that echo. And sometimes physical reality will simply give you the same situation, the same set of circumstances that was there before, to give you an opportunity to see if you actually really have changed. Because change, and here's one of the primary tools in the kit, is this knowledge. Change is not about what happens on the outside. It's about how you respond to what happens. It's state of being, not circumstance. So the idea is that if you say you have changed, and a similar situation crops up, that cropped up before when you were in a negative state, and you react in the same negative way to that circumstance, you haven't changed.
On the subject of parallel realities that you were just talking about.
Yes, parallel reality.
Yes. And you were talking about the ripples, the effects of the other realities ripple into the other reality.
Because of the collective consciousness creating senses of continuity that connect those things together, yes.
So let's say, for example, this is where I need clarification.
Yes.
Let's say in this reality that I'm focused in, I'm afraid of swimming.
Yes.
Does that mean that there's a possibility that in a different reality I had an experience?
That version of you might have had an experience that you're connecting to play out and use that experience to explore whatever themes you're exploring here. Because somehow you believe that making that connection to that experience will serve you. Yes.
Okay. So then, how
Yes.
do I know that, how would I know that that specific thing is something that's serving me?
Well, again, it serves you because it puts you in touch with the idea that you have a belief that is generating the fear.
Oh, I see.
And you use the fear as a messenger to let you know you have a belief you're unaware of. So sometimes you will make these connections to generate fear that will then reveal to you certain beliefs you didn't know existed within the matrix of your consciousness. Therefore, it's doing you the service of pointing them out like a spotlight. And then you can ask the question, oh, what would I have to believe is true in order to experience this fear? And then you can let the fear go because it's done its job. But you will connect sometimes to other realities that might be exploring similar themes, but have had an experience that will induce fear in you to point out a similar belief system within yourself.
I see.
That's one way to use parallel reality connections to your advantage.
So the experience or the purpose of shape-shifting, does
Yes.
that also help us experience more different
Of course.
energies then?
Because
or?
once you learn the idea of shape-shifting, and you shift into a form that is different than what you think of your natural form, you're going to start to know what that form knows, think like that form thinks, behave like that form behaves, and you're going to learn a lot that way. You can even match a frequency. Now, we've talked about different ways of doing this because this is the basis of telepathy, that you don't read another person's mind, but you operate on a similar wavelength and have the same thoughts at the same time synchronistically. That's what telepathy actually is. So the idea of shape-shifting is a further demonstration of that by actually becoming, in a sense, a version of them that is almost identical physiologically by taking on a parallel reality reflection that makes you look like a twin of someone, and then you can understand them completely because you are being a version of them, and you know exactly what they're thinking, and you know exactly how they feel because you are a version of them. So it's a way to learn how to empathize, connect, have compassion, and learn many things from a different point of view. It's the ultimate way to walk in someone else's shoes by actually becoming them.
Do we actually do that unconsciously here and there, or we
Here
haven't?
and there, yes, you can, but you simply don't express it in the way that shapeshifters do, physiologically.
Oh, I see. So it's the consciousness that's basically experiencing that? It's the
Yes.
experience of the consciousness.
Yes. You're just
Physical.
adapting a reflection and imagining the reflection to actually be your reflection so that you see yourself as something else. And then you will think, feel, and do the things that something else does.
Okay, great.
It's a very, very strong way to learn about the world, about reality, about the universe, about the multiverse.
What you've explained about time travel, shifting between realities, is, and especially with regard to the future, that seems easily understandable, especially with a linear perspective.
Yes.
What is, I suppose, or could be chosen to be a more challenging understanding, is that of how the past is not set and equally malleable.
Yes, but that's only because that's what you've been taught to think about the past.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean that's the way it is. That's just the way you've been taught to look at it.
Right. And one of the most striking examples seems to be that of miracle healing.
Yes.
So someone has an irreversible ailment, and they come to a point where they experience that healing, and suddenly it vanishes, and they stand up out of the wheelchair or whatever, because they shifted to a reality where it did not exist.
Exactly, and that means they are not the same person that had it. They've never had it.
Mm-hmm.
It goes that far. Do you understand? Yes. It's not that they're the same person and they no longer have it. They are a person who never has had it. Right. Therefore, it doesn't even show up anywhere in the timeline. Yes? Now, you can create the continuity if you want as an experience. Oh, yes, I used to have it and now I no longer have it. But in a sense, that's just wordplay. Because you actually are a new person who never had it. But you're maintaining a sense of continuity that you're the same person who let it go. That's just the way you need to experience it for yourself so that you can gauge that you have changed, that you have grown, that you have made something else happen. That's your way of knowing you've become a new person. You're just using language that makes it seem as if you're the same person when you're not. That's all.
Okay.
So it's the difference, as we say, between describing an experience and actually describing the mechanism that causes the experience. Big difference. Big difference. That's why many of your definitions are outdated, old-fashioned. You still think that the description, the old-fashioned, outdated description, is actually a description of the mechanism. It's often not at all. It's just a description of how you choose to experience it. But it may have nothing to do with how the mechanism that caused it actually works at all. Do you understand?
Right.
The simple example we often give is the concept you call telepathy, which we term telepathy. Most people on your planet go, oh, well, you can read my mind. No, you can't. What you're doing is creating a vibrational frequency that is so similar to the vibrational frequency of someone else. You're mirroring them so closely, you're having the same thoughts at the same time. The effect, the experience seems to be, you're reading my mind. But the mechanism is no such thing. The mechanism is you're simply on such a similar wavelength that you're having the same thoughts because only those thoughts are germane to that wavelength. Therefore, you're in sync with one another, having the same thoughts simultaneously like two tuning forks vibrating in harmony. But the tuning forks aren't reading each other's minds. Do you understand?
Yes.
They are simply representing the vibration that represents that particular frequency. And that's it. So, description of the mechanism, very different than a description of the experience. Doesn't invalidate either, but it's important to tell the difference. Because when you just go with the idea of the description of the experience, you're reading my mind, it creates all sorts of misunderstandings and assumptions that don't work in your reality. The whole idea sometimes of your scientists attempting to test for psychic abilities like telepathy, they find many times that there's no evidence for it. Why? Because they're attempting to test the experience. It doesn't tell them what the actual mechanism is behind it. Therefore, they're doing the wrong test. And of course, they find no evidence for it because they don't understand what it is. They have proven that the experience is not the mechanism. That's what they've proven by saying there's no evidence for this. That's all they've proven. But they haven't yet realized that the mechanism itself is completely different from the experience that they've just disproven is not the mechanism. We have discussed with you from time to time the idea that every moment you are a new person, that you are shifting through billions of parallel reality versions of Earth every second. The idea sometimes, as we discuss this concept with some of you, may seem that while the person understands to a certain degree that they are shifting, they may not realize the idea that the Earth and the universe and the multiverse and all of creation is shifting as well. So in this transmission, we wish to expand and broaden your understanding that the shifts we are talking about that are automatic and ongoing, that you're becoming more and more aware of that you're doing, extend throughout existence. It's not just you as an individual shifting on the same planet, but the planet is shifting too, because it is one of the parallel versions you've shifted to. So it is shifting. Your universe is shifting. The multiverse is shifting. How can you take advantage of this knowledge in your daily lives? First and foremost, again, we remind you, you don't have to learn to shift. Shifting is automatic. That's how you create the side effect called time and space and change. If you were not shifting, you would not have those experiences. So it's not about learning to shift. It's about becoming more aware of the fact that you're always shifting and starting to match the frequency a little more closely of the shift. The paradox to that is that as you start raising your frequency and becoming more aware of how fast you're already shifting, reality may seem, in a sense, to start slowing down and at the same time accelerate. The idea of the slowing down is that by matching the frequency, you get to see the frames more clearly. They don't just whiz by. They become more apparent to you consciously. And yet, as they become more apparent to you, they're becoming more apparent in the present. So the idea of seeing more of the frames more consciously that you're shifting through actually allows you to live more in the moment, and living more in the moment while seeming to slow things down actually speeds things up, because everything happens in the now and everything is already existing in the now. So the paradox of your senses will be that things will sort of seem to freeze now and then. Space and time will become more malleable, more flexible. At the same time, you will experience what feels like an acceleration, because you're becoming more aware of more of what is in the present, more of what is in each of those frames that you are now more conscious of. So you have this double effect. As you become more conscious of these frames, by raising your frequency, by following your passion, of course, following that formula, you can utilize this understanding of going to zero, going to zero, going to zero with each shift in a much more constructive, powerful, conscious way. Because that is exactly what you are doing. That is exactly what the entire planet, in a sense, is doing as it manifests with you in the new reality, billions of times per second, as the new reality, billions of times per second, since they all already exist. So the idea of Earth Zero is to become more aware of that zero space. The idea that it is truly blank in the shift, and that you get to define in that moment more clearly who it is you prefer to be, what kind of version of Earth is more reflective of that, and of course the universe as well. But let's keep it focused on your planet for the moment so it doesn't get a little bit too heady. So the idea, again, is now that you know more and more that you are shifting billions of times a second, broaden your perspective that when you do, start seeing in your imagination, start seeing more consciously that the earth is shifting too. So that in that sense, not that it comes with you, but that it goes back to zero and is defined, is invented with you. Not just you reinvented, but the earth you are on reinvented. That you are connected to it, you're an extension of it, because you are nature. You are of the earth. It is of you. You are creating your version of it. And so if you start to see that the entire globe is new, zeroing out with every shift, billions of times per second, you will actually start to accelerate the effects you see of things appearing to change in the world, because you are more rapidly and more consciously taking the earth with you, so to speak, as you know you are shifting. And you are seeing the new shifted earth more clearly because you are allowing yourself to include the idea that the earth is shifting and going to zero as well as you. And this can accelerate your experience of actually more consciously seeing those reflections, what you call changes in your reality. Now, this is a version of accessing parallel realities. Again, since everything exists at once, they're all parallel realities. What you call the past is a parallel reality. What you call the future is a parallel reality. Again, it all exists now. But you have these convenient labels for them, these convenient perspectives of them, because you're coming from a space-time framework. However, as you understand this zeroing out principle more consciously, you're going to start experiencing with your senses more of the overlap. More of the idea of a kind of double and triple exposure of the different earths you're shifting through. So the idea is that you may start seeing kind of a residual echo of the one you were at, a residual echo of the one you're going to. You will broaden the idea of the window of the shifting so that you can actually start to really feel stepping across a bridge, including where you were, where you are, where you're going. It will broaden your understanding and your ability to perceive multiple parallel versions of Earth at once so that you can more consciously navigate, because if you can see what's coming up and you understand where you've been, it charts a clearer course in your consciousness. You can actually start to see the course you're taking. You can see more of the map that you are using to guide yourself, to navigate yourself through these billions of parallel realities. And you can broaden it even more and more and more and more until you will allow yourself to be able to conceive of and perceive multiple versions of all of the Earths, and it starts becoming kind of like seeing more of the frames all at once, and you have a bigger understanding, a bigger chunk of understanding of the path that you are, the path that you're manifesting. Now, in a sense, this means that when you start doing this, it's a new way of understanding and experiencing more consistently the concept and the experience that you call déjà vu. Because the idea in what you call déjà vu is that you have a sense of knowing what's coming up because you feel you've been there before. So in a sense, you're using the forward and reverse arrows of time simultaneously as they exist in the present together. So this concept of Earth Zero is a way of expanding the idea of déjà vu into something that is actually a practical device, a practical tool to broaden your understanding of seeing more of the path that you are and navigating it more consciously by being able to see ahead, in a sense, where you are going because you've already been there. Because you are already connected. There are already versions of you on all of the different parallel versions that are relevant for you. So it's like tapping into a future self that already has a past memory of already having been where it is you're still going. You understand? This is a shift, a big shift, because in the past, so to speak, most of you will rely on learning what you need to move forward from what you've already experienced. You will look back to the past, and I'm not saying you should stop that, but the idea is you're starting to shift anchoring to past events over to the idea of anchoring to future events. Since they all exist at the same time, why not pull yourself forward, in a sense, instead of going back and looking and using that to maintain the idea of knowing that a future self is already on a version of Earth that already exists, and to that future self, where you're going is already the past, can really accelerate and propel you into that future self, into becoming that future self on that version of Earth in what you call the future. And since everything exists all at once, you can use them in any way you wish. You can use them this way. You just have to start thinking multidimensionally and knowing that other versions of you already exist and that they have their own experiences that you can tap into and use to your benefit in this way. So let the future self pull you forward. This is similar to what's happening in the channeling, where I am, again, according to your euphemisms, the channel's future self, pulling him forward, allowing him to become his version of what he believes us to be, so that he can rely on my past experiences to become his future ones. This is how Earth Zero works. Allow yourself to begin to relate to communicate with, to open up to the idea of being in a zero place that can have any definition. The entire planet, the entire world, your entire cosmos, all of your experience, zero. And then from that zero, clean slate place, start connecting more to the idea of what the future self would consider to be its best past path. And allow that to become your future path, instead of constantly remembering backwards to propel yourself forwards. Let the future pull you towards it. Let your future self engage you and urge you and encourage you forward by walking in its footsteps, steps that already exist from its point of view, but you will have your own experience of that. That's the beauty of it. You're not actually repeating exactly the path the future self took, but it is giving you guideposts. It is giving you footprints that you will step into and experience in your own way that you believe is relevant for you. But the footsteps are there to follow already. So, allow yourself, in understanding more and more the idea that you zero out at every moment and you can redefine yourself in the next moment, allow more of that redefinition to include the experiences the future self has already had, but in a broad enough way that you can also determine what those experiences shall be for you. Then you will accelerate greatly because you'll be able to see that path more clearly. And you know that the future self is shining a light on that path and on those footsteps for you. Does that make sense? Does that sound like fun? All right. So, let that sink in. There are many other ways that your imagination can aid and assist you in developing this relationship to the future self and allowing yourself to be more conscious of zeroing out. You can use Earth Zero in a number of ways. Let your imagination be your guide, aside from what we have just suggested as a permission slip.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I've been dreaming various dreams about with everyone in each moment doing the most exciting thing they're capable of doing.
Yes.
And I would like to expand my understanding of the ideas of excitement and motivation.
Yes.
The idea of excitement being the physical translation of the vibrational energy that represents the path I've chosen to be.
Yes.
Is that apply like a local law or when you're in physical embodiment, or is, why is that not a fifth universal law?
The idea is simply based on the notion of what you put out is what you get back. That's the third law. What we are simply saying is that the vibration itself is what determines that. And The vibration of your natural state of existence, the first law, is much higher than you think and generally translates in your particular dimension as the sensation of excitement. So this statement is simply a more detailed explanation of some of the principles that go hand in hand with the laws as we have already described them. It's not an additional law, it's an explanation of the characteristics of the laws we have already described.
Understood, yes. And for some people, is it possible that excitement for them is to create pain and anger and separation?
In some senses, yes, and this is why we have said very often that you must pay strict attention to the concept of what it is you are calling excitement. In a sense, it's actually not their excitement, but they, through their motivations and through their fears, may label it as such. And it is up to you to learn through self-honest examination to be able to discern the difference between excitement in that sense and anxiety. Do you follow me?
Yeah, so let me see if I do. If everyone then is in their, what they perceive, the beliefs that they put out, what they perceive to be the most exciting thing they can do, when that is in alignment with their true isness, then it will be, they will be expressing joy and laughter in that sense?
It is simply the natural state that goes hand in hand with that vibration. There may be, in certain circumstances, a few exceptions, but that will be done for very specific reasons. For the most part, you can be relatively assured that the idea of the generation of pain is not a result of the generation of excitement. It is usually the result of the idea of dampening down the excitement and giving over to fear. Because pain is simply resistance to the natural self.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and so then we're motivated to do what we perceive to be will bring us closest to pleasure rather than pain.
As we have described, motivation is a big key in understanding what's going on and whether or not you're actually generating fear or joy, excitement or anxiety, because motivation is the key that underlies knowing the difference. As we have described, as you are pointing out, motivation is simply, again, based on definition. You will do the things you believe and perceive to be more pleasurable and less painful, and you will not do the things you believe and perceive to be more painful and less pleasurable. Now, that's where, shall we say, the trick comes into it. Because when someone is doing something painful, but they say they are following their excitement, what they are not paying attention to is the belief system they have that has attached itself, so to speak, or you have attached it, to the painful act, that is somehow defining the doing of that painful act as actually more pleasurable than what they have defined the alternative to be because of their fear that's attached to that. And that's where I understand it can get a little tricky. But do you understand what I am saying mechanistically?
Yes.
Anything you perceive to be pleasure, you will move toward. Anything you perceive to be pain, you will move away from. But you have to pay attention to how you're defining pleasure and pain.
Yes.
So the idea is that many people will do a painful thing because to them, to follow their true joy might actually in some senses seem to be more painful than the painful thing they're doing. So they'll move away from that. Even though it might actually ultimately give them joy, they don't perceive it in a joyful way because of their definitions of it.
Understood. Thank you.
Yes.
As far as question just got away from me. Come back here.
Oh, there it is. There it goes. Out the door.
Could you give me an idea what percentage of the global population is aware of consciously and capable of sharing the ideas with others of the four universal laws at this time?
Well, they don't all express it in the way that we have, but many have an innate understanding of what we are saying, even though they may use different terminology. You follow me?
Yeah, it's within all of us. I'm just curious in terms of everyone, what's the percentage of people in the population actually are consciously aware of it, and to the point where they could share the ideas, the four laws, with other people. They could write them down.
3%.
3%.
Now, don't get discouraged. Understand, as we have explained before, positive energy is integrative. and geometrically expands as compared to negative energy, which segregates. The idea is that you don't need as many people understanding or creating the positive vibration to outbalance the idea of the number of people expressing a negative vibration, because the positive is integrative and geometrically expands, and so it doesn't take as many people in that vibration to equal the power of more people in the negative. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The idea as it's been expressed in your society as a symbol, I'm not saying this is a literal number. The idea as it's been expressed as a symbol, as a metaphor in your society is the 144,000. The idea is simply that compared to, let's say, 1 million or 2 million or 5 million people, all it takes is 144,000 in the positive to absolutely outweigh the millions in the negative, because the positive is integrative and expands geometrically collectively. And it doesn't take that many to outweigh the negative. So not everyone on your planet has to be looking at a positive thing in order for there to be a lot of positive energy being given to your planet. You follow me?
Yes.
But in the way you asked the question, it's 3%. There is actually a larger percentage of people that are moving in positive directions, but you asked what percentage can actually completely comprehend and state some variation of the 4 laws, and it's 3%.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I've heard 2 stories related to Jeshua.
Yeshua, yes.
Yeshua.
Yes.
And Judas. One in which it is said that Judas betrayed Yeshua by turning him over to Pilate. And the other was in which Yeshua asked Judas to do that.
He didn't ask him to do it. He told him he would do it.
Judas told Yeshua he would do it?
No. Yeshua told Judas he would do it.
And explained to him he would be treated as a betrayer if in doing so.
Yes.
And Judas accepted to do that for reasons
with
of his
great pain and anguish, but understood why, and so accepted the role.
And he was perhaps one of the closest friends to Yeshua.
Yes, and that's why he was chosen. Because Yeshua knew he would do it because it needed to be done to illustrate a point.
So in terms of their relationship, they were at complete integrity with each other.
Absolutely.
In this action.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
The story of Gilgamesh, is that related to somebody who actually existed?
It is. Back in the time of the ideas of Enki and the early manifestations of extraterrestrial consciousness and other civilizations upon your planet. It is somewhat amalgamated and jumbled up and has evolved into somewhat of a fable, but nevertheless it is based on some real incidents and real people, even though it has become mostly metaphorical. Yes.
Oh, all right. Does the term Gilgamesh have a translation into English?
Well, yes. One moment. It might be a little bit unusual for your language, as there are idiomatic concepts in a variety of languages that don't translate completely across the board. Gilgamesh is an interesting combination of creator and destroyer simultaneously. That which destroys and creates. That which creates and thus destroys. Does this make any sense in your language?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
A destroyer and creator, is it?
Yes, but not necessarily in the way you might think of the concept of destruction.
Destruction for the purposes of higher creation?
Yes. Perhaps in a more technical way of looking at it, you could say a disassembler and reassembler.
For a positive and new creation.
Well, it's somewhat actually neutral.
Neutral.
Even though the universe is slightly biased toward the positive, it's in that balanced point. Because from the universe's perspective, there isn't an agenda in that. It's simply a description of the nature of a particular state of consciousness and a description of what that state of consciousness was designed to do. Be the disassembler and reassembler. Does that make more sense?
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you,
So
Bashar.
Gilgamesh is like a verb, in a sense. It's actually more a verb than a noun. It's a description of a process at the very center of creation.
Yeah.
And it has been used in the past as more of a declaration than a description. When you witness that moment where all polarization comes together in a single moment, where all dichotomy blends together into one, you might call it in one of your languages a gestalt or an aha, but in ancient times, that moment, that experience was a Gilgamesh. Do you understand?
Yes.
Does that help?
Yes, thank
but
you.
It was with a specific recognition of the specific idea of the destroyer and the creator, of the disassembler and the assembler, blending into one concept. With that revelation came Gilgamesh, the birth of an identity and an entity and a consciousness that represents a very specific state of being in reality on many different levels. Did this translate all right?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Much love, Bashar.
And to you as well.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you. I have been realizing that I don't have any excitement left and no passion.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Then why did you come today?
Because when I heard the name Bashar, I went, oh, okay.
So you mean you had some excitement
Yes.
left?
But there,
But you just said you had no excitement. But then all of a sudden you had excitement.
well, that's because you appeared.
Well, but I can't create that in you.
Yes, that's true.
You must have chosen to be excited.
Let me rephrase that then. I really don't seem to have a direction in my life or what I want to do or a passion for anything.
Oh, all right. So what do you want to do about that?
I would like to know how to get the fire back, the passion back.
Why do you want to know that?
Because otherwise there's really no reason for me to be on the planet.
Well, sure there is. Otherwise you wouldn't be. Believe me, this is not a mystery. This is not a mystery. It is not part of the agreement that you can in any way, shape, or form fool. If it is time for you to not be on the planet, all you have to do is lie down, close your eyes, and say, it's time for me to go. If you can open your eyes 10 seconds later, it's not time for you to go, or you would have gone. If you're not gone, it's not time for you to be gone. There is no accident about that. It's a perfect orchestration.
I understand.
So if you're where you are on the planet, there's a reason for it.
Correct.
Now, so what you are saying is you are attempting to figure out or how to invent or realize or recognize that reason or give yourself that reason.
Right.
All right. Now,
Thank you.
the very fact that you are asking for that
Right.
means you have passion, because that's what you're passionate about. Finding that passion. You understand?
Yes.
All right, so you have passion. This is similar to the idea we said before and in another variation where people think, oh, I'm only using 10% of my brain. No, you're using 100% of your brain to make it seem as if you're only using 10% of your brain. You are right now using your passion to make it seem as if you have to discover your passion. And that's exciting, because you're putting mystery into it. You're interpreting it with belief systems in a way that makes you experience it lethargically or depressively, but that's what you're actually doing. You are hiding things from yourself and creating a mystery that requires discovery. You're taking yourself on a detective journey to discover your passion. All you need to do is approach this from a more positive point of view with positive definitions, and suddenly you will find that it will not be depressing or sad. It will suddenly be that you are presented with a very interesting mystery to completely redefine yourself from scratch and really find out who you are. This is the task and the challenge you have set for yourself, is to be your own detective novel. And find out who you are, look for the clues, get curious, explore the mystery, see how this goes with that or that goes with this, and why did that happen, and what does that mean, and what meaning am I putting into this? And approach it that way, and you will find that that journey will be very, very engaging indeed. So the approach is really what needs to shift here, not the idea of finding your passion. Your passion is to find yourself through mystery. You just need to change your approach to the idea that that's what you need to do. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But?
It's like I have no drive to do it.
But you don't need drive.
And I resist. I try.
All right, now you're on to something.
Okay.
The resistance tells you that there is energy there. And again, the only reason you're experiencing the energy as resistance is because of the definitions that you have. Do you have any curiosity about yourself at all?
Yes.
What?
The original self, that I know that I'm much more than I am.
Then that's all it takes. The curiosity will create the drive. Just maintain the balance in the curiosity energy. Maintain a presence in curiosity to find out who the original you is. That's the detective mystery. You don't need drive. Curiosity will do it. It will bring into your life circumstances that will arouse your curiosity further, and you will then take steps. Don't think about it as needing drive. Just remain curious about who you are as openly as you can, and it will start a momentum rolling. One moment. Is there any place on your planet that you would rather be physically?
I've been asking myself that, and
what has come up? Don't edit it.
Okay.
What has come up? Don't put conditions on it. Well, I've been thinking about going there, but I could never do that, or I don't have enough drive to do. Don't edit it.
Okay, Italy.
What? Italy. Why?
It's just the green and the peacefulness of it.
Oh, and it has nothing to do at all with the fact that that country on your planet is primarily known for passion, is it? Where in Italy would you like to go first?
I really don't know. I've just seen videos of the aerial over it, and it's beautifully green and old. And yeah.
All right. So when will you go to Italy? Because you're giving yourself a sign that the vibration that you need to be in is part of the process of truly discovering yourself. Remember, when we talk about the idea of acting on your excitement, it's a whole picture. It's not just what you do, it's also where you do it. That's part of the whole picture. If you are attempting to do your excitement in a place that's not representative of your excitement, you're not doing your excitement. Yeah. So if you know that Italy is a place that represents something that is more you, then by all means, go there. And you will see that something will happen that will help you continue that journey of finding who you are. So when will you go to Italy?
I have no idea.
When will you go?
I don't know.
Do you want to go?
Yes.
Well, are you willing to allow your life to synchronistically show you that you can go?
Yes.
All right, that's a start.
That was a struggle.
Be willing to allow into your life something to come in that will show you you can easily get there. Don't put any assumptions or expectations on how people tell you are the only ways you can possibly get there. Well, you have to have this, and you have to have that, and you have to have this. There are people sitting in the room with you right now that never let anything like logic stop them. They simply allow themselves to know that they can put it out, that that's what they desire, and they then get other people to respond in a way that supports that dream. So just put it out that that's where you want to go. In all the ways that you can, share that information with people as you have done here today. Act on whatever opportunities may present themselves that carry at least some degree of, if not excitement, at least curiosity. You can start that as a form of baby excitement. Follow it, act on it, see where it leads. It will probably lead you very quickly to Italy. Don't assume you cannot get there. Because if that's what's enticing you, if that's what's calling you, the call lets you know you will get there if you simply move in the direction that presents itself. All right?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes.
All right. And anything else?
Is where I belong in this earth.
Do you mean the physical location again? Or your place?
Yes.
As a person?
Yes.
Wherever you want. However you want. You belong or you wouldn't be.
I understand that.
But what is it that makes you sad?
I don't feel like belong anywhere.
Anywhere at all?
Right.
All right. Now, you understand, we have said that if you have the feeling that you don't belong, then you have the belief that you don't.
Yes.
Where did that belief come from? Who did it come from? Did it come from your mother? Did it come from your father?
I haven't gone into that one yet.
Perhaps
I don't know the answer.
you ought to.
Okay.
Find someone who can assist you to find out who fed you the belief that you don't belong anywhere. When you begin that journey, you will realize it's just a belief you've been fed and it's a belief you swallowed.
Right.
It's time to let it out.
Right.
Because it's not empirically true. Because if it was, believe me, you wouldn't be here. You couldn't be.
I understand that. But
I know you say you understand it, but what you need to do is understand
Right.
it. And so, find out where the belief comes from. If you understand that your feeling stems from a belief, find out where the belief came from so that you can deal with it. All right?
Yes.
I'm not saying it will be easy, but begin that journey. And more quickly than you can possibly imagine, you may find yourself standing on the shores of Italy.
Okay.
All right?
Yes.
In all ways, both literal and metaphorical, because that's where you belong. All right?
Thank you.
And again, remember, you're not alone. There are many who are helping you, whether you know it or not. So, find out. All right?
Thank you.
Begin your journey this way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
Thank you so much for sharing your information with us.
And thank you as well.
What message which comes from diagram?
Which
was
diagram?
That's 12 circles with like a spiral.
You mean the 19 circles?
Oh, 19 circles,
All
yeah,
right.
in spiral.
Yes.
That I signed contract which I will experience in my presence on earth, that I'm not going to be loved.
No.
No?
No. Not this life. Those contracts have expired in the cycle of human experience. You have signed a contract that may make you go through the experience of believing that you're not going to be loved, but the contract is not written so that you actually won't be loved. Only that you will go through the experience of doubting that you will.
Oh, I see.
Oh, good.
But thanks. But what comes to me that anyways, if I just go through experience or I sign contract, that I attract to myself situation in my life that prove to me that I'm not loved, even though I know for I love.
But again, proof is subjective and you create the proof.
Right.
So you're just reinforcing the idea of going through the experience of proving to yourself that you will not be loved, but that's not true. You have to look beyond the illusion you are creating for yourself. You must shift your gears and go from the illusion of power and shift to the power of the illusion. You are finding yourself lost in the illusion of power. You are believing that the reality is real. It's not. You must use the power of the illusion by knowing it's only as real as you believe it to be. So what you're going through in creating proof that you are not loved can easily be, once again, contradicted by the fact that you exist. Because if you really were not loved on any level whatsoever, you wouldn't exist. The universe would not support you. You couldn't exist. Now, through the idea of the experience of what you might call the expression of human love, you will go through the idea of doubting that it can be possible for you. But that's the experience you're going through, is doubting that it can be possible. And because you doubt it, you will create proof that it's not possible. Because every belief system is self-reinforcing. Otherwise, you couldn't experience it as a reality. If your beliefs were not self-reinforcing and self-perpetuating, you would not be able to have any particular experience in physical reality. So if you create the belief that it's not possible for you to be loved, you have to understand that within that belief, a component of the mechanism of that belief will be the proof that you're right. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to really fully experience what you have created. But you have created it. It's not real. Once you understand that, you will move out of it. And you will see that, of course, you can be loved and will be loved in this life. But your journey is to prove that to yourself. Just as you are proving that you can't be loved. You must now understand that if you can prove you can't be loved, you can just as easily prove that you can.
Yes, you're right, because my guides, they keep saying me that I can express myself just through unconditional love and spread it all over me and just express it to the world.
And again, the paradox is you don't do that in order to get someone else to reflect it back to you. You do it because that's who you are. And when you do it because that's who you are, others will not be able to help but reflect it back to you. But don't do it to get the reflection. Do it because that's just who you are, and you have no other choice but to be that you. That's a critical secret. The point of the idea of desire and what you choose is that you choose to be these people because you have no other choice. You must be that person. There is no other choice. So you decide. Be the person who absolutely has the brilliance and the capacity to absolutely prove you cannot be loved, or choose to be the person who knows beyond a shadow of a doubt you can prove just as easily that you can be loved.
Right.
It's up to you. There is no reality other than what you believe it to be. There is nothing outside you. There is no outside. Nothing is happening to you. It can't. It can only happen through you, because you are all there is in your reality.
But
what?
What's interesting that this thought just came to me during this meditation, and I've never thought about it before. So
good. That means it's working. It means it's bringing up issues. It means it's putting you in touch with belief systems that you can change. So very good. You've used the tool well. It's put you in touch with something you need to deal with. So congratulations. Now you can deal with it. But when it comes up, don't apply the old belief system and say, oh, now that belief system that I don't prefer has come up, I'm stuck with it. No, apply the tools again and recognize it's just a belief system, and you can use the same tools that brought it to your attention to change it.
Right.
Because that's all it is, a belief.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. So.
Why, thank you. Does that help you?
Yes, thank you so much.
Well,
I have a short question.
Yes.
Can you comment raising kids and behaving in a family between parents and especially teenagers?
Well, that's quite a comprehensive subject on your planet. The idea that we will simply say in general, of course, is to understand that what you typically call adults on your planet actually are still children for the most part. And therefore
true.
they are raising children and not really capable of showing them what adults should actually act like. So what do you expect? But to simply perpetuate more children who themselves don't know how to actually raise children into adulthood.
So just let them be themselves?
No, not let them be themselves in a chaotic way. Teach them who they really are so they can then be their true selves. Do you understand the difference?
But if we don't know who we are,
but you can learn to. Raise yourself, then you can raise the children.
Right.
You understand? I'm just giving you a broad overview because it's a very deep subject that right now in your time frame we don't have time to go deeply into. But generally speaking, you must raise yourself so you can truly raise children into adulthood. But you have to bring yourselves up. One of the strong ways you could do this, if you have any recognition at all, is to recognize that the idea is to nurture what the child's natural talents are in a number of given ways and let them interact and participate in the idea of how to express their talent rather than attempting to push them and mold them into a box. To teach them, let them teach you how they would actually learn best by calling upon what excites them and formulating the things you think they need to learn in terms they're excited to interact with. So you're speaking their language as a person. Don't force them to learn a language they don't understand. Teach them what you want to teach them in a language they do understand, which means a style of approach that represents how they express their excitement in life and convert all the things you think it's important for them to understand into those terms so they will be excited about learning those things because once you convert it into their terms, they can relate to it and see how it applies in terms of living a loving, fulfilling life. Does that make sense?
Yes. So if for some reason I don't like the behavior or how my kid is acting,
yes,
I have to just
engage them in a conversation and allow them to explain the reasons why. Help them learn how to get in touch with the reasons why they are choosing that behavior. Because when you allow them to tell you, when you help them get in touch with the reasons why they are displaying that behavior, they will be able to explain to you why they made that choice. And you can discuss with them the concept of choices and consequences and let them understand that you treat them as an intelligent being that learns the difference and understands the concept that there are consequences to choices, and let them understand they don't have to make choices that society says they have to make, that they can learn how to expand beyond society's definitions to make choices that will truly allow them to express who they are in life, and they can live fully by doing so. But it will take perhaps learning on both of your parts. You may have to raise each other.
Thank you so much.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does.
Well, we love you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Bashar,
yes.
I have been taking photographs of orbs for the last year.
Orbs, yes.
Yes, and I'd like to gain more insight and clarity from you about who they
right.
are, why they're here.
Well, there are a variety of reasons. Generally speaking, you might call them nodes of consciousness. Some of them can be manipulated and utilized almost in the sense of probes to gather information. Do you understand?
Can you say more?
It is a manipulation of the idea of certain kinds of electromagnetic energies pitched at certain frequencies, so it can be remotely manipulated to gather intelligence and information about certain scenarios on your planet. Sometimes you will be sensitive to seeing them with your physical eyes. Sometimes only your camera equipment will be capable of actually registering them at that frequency. But they are manipulations of electromagnetic energy consciousness at a certain pitch, in a certain pattern, that allows them to remotely gather and send vibrational information. That is one way what you are experiencing is expressed. There are other ways as well that are similar to what I'm saying, but they're actually more self-directed rather than being directed remotely by others. In that sense, they are actually manifestations to some degree of intelligences outside your dimensionality that are capable of manifesting a part of their consciousness in your dimension through their focus and interest in your dimension. So they are still gathering information and learning and exploring, but they themselves, those orbs are themselves a representation of an actual intelligence rather than simply being remotely used by an intelligence. But the manifestation is similar as an interface between one dimension and another. Does that make sense?
It's starting to make sense. And so I'm wondering, are part of these orbs, could they be my guides? Can you show up as an orb in a camera?
I can and I have.
Okay.
Yes.
Are my guides? My understanding is that some of my guides are showing up.
Sometimes, yes.
Okay. And I'm noticing that they do show up more when there are a lot of people and when there's an energy of joy in the room. I'm noticing
that vibration is more conducive to the interdimensional interface becoming more crystallized in a way that you can perceive it. Mm-hmm. Because the more you match the frequency of the dimension that they may be coming from, the more you will be able to perceive the manifestation from that dimension. You're matching their frequency. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right,
and so I'm wondering if there's any way I can use them to serve me, to serve the planet. How can I
ask
be working?
them. Okay. Ask them.
Okay.
And see what you get.
Okay.
You can apply that question to the tools we have also shared with you today. When you use the spiral and go into the center, you can ask the question and see what you get, and then pay attention to your dreams as well and the synchronicities in your life. Very often, please understand, all of you, when you ask questions of guides and other beings that might have connections to spirit dimensions or other frequency dimensions or domains, very often the answers you get will actually play out more likely in the synchronicities that occur in your life than in an actual voice in your head. Because the things that are going on in your reality, the props that are already in your reality, are already in front of you. They're already, shall we say, commanding your attention. So it's easier to deliver a message using the props that are already in front of your face than it is to divert your attention to something and some methodology that you're not used to getting. I'm not saying it can't happen, but the easier way often to deliver a message is when you're not really paying attention or looking for it, and just let the things in your life, in a sense, carry the information to you from the other dimension. It's easier to get your attention that way. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes, thank you. Just one more tweak.
Oh, tweak.
Yes.
All right.
The orbs show up on my camera all the time. They've started showing up for my mom, but I have other friends who have the exact same camera and they're not showing up on theirs. So how does...
Well, again, it has to do with frequency and vibration. I'm not saying every camera has the capability. It has to do also with the receptivity of the vibrational state you create in that encounter. Because remember, you and the camera are also moving into that state. Does that make sense?
Yes.
The camera is an extension of your senses. And if you are more synchronized or harmonized with the intelligence coming through from the other dimension, then you will take yourself and everything with you closer to that vibration. It will be easier in that sense to record that encounter. Do you follow?
Yes, thank you, Bashar.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Last night I had an encounter with an extraterrestrial.
In what way?
When they spoke to me, they were actually singing in a very joyful manner, and I was feeling intense vibration.
Singing?
And what they said was, repeated several times, was Solo Han. and then said planet, and I kind of in my mind said contact, and it said yes, and then it was over.
All right.
So
they were using an archetypal symbol that you are used to in your reality that they knew would be easier to reach you through. You understand the name they gave you as it is represented in your science fiction mythology?
What I found with quick research was, I know what solo meant. Han was a almost extinct language from the...
It has double meaning, but Han Solo is a character in your Star Wars mythology.
Yes.
And so they knew that because your mind was attuned to that, it would be easier to get you to recognize the transmission and what they were by using an archetype that you would identify with that kind of reality, as well as the other meanings that it has. These messages are never delivered with a single meaning. It's always multidimensional. So, Han Solo is representative of the character to get your attention on a certain level. Han also being representative of the multilingual idea, which represents multidimensionality, multi-intelligences, multi-expressions. And contact, meaning yes, you are actually in contact with an intelligence, and we're in that sense able to let you know that by being able to activate the portions of your mind and your memories and your archetypal understandings that are tuned to our frequency more easily. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
It's simply like knowing what channel, what frequency your radio operates on and making sure that the message is sent on the same frequency. They stimulate those portions of your archetypal energy that will be able to perceive that they have been stimulated, that a message has been sent. Make sense?
Yes.
So, how did that feel?
Very amazing.
Oh, more amazing. Yes. Does that help you?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, at this time, we would like to take you through one short, final journey with regard to this information. So everyone become comfortable. Close your eyes if you wish. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. Don't let it out. Don't let it out. Don't let it out. Now let it out. All right. Now, when I say the following words, one at a time, with each utterance, with each word, just let yourself and your imagination associate whatever feelings, sounds, colors, people, situations, ideas you wish. Just see what comes up for you. Whatever comes up for you, vibrationally, feeling-wise, picture-wise, when each of these words are said, will begin to give you a clue as to what belief systems you may hold in your core to be true, and will give you some material to work on. So, one at a time, just pay attention to what you get with the following words. Desire. Just let yourself observe the full spectrum of all your responses and reactions to the word desire. See what comes up. Desire. Desire. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Definition. 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 Take a deep breath in and let it out. Dedication. 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 Take a deep breath in and let it out. Detachment. 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 Take a deep breath in and let it out. As part of the overall tools, with everything else we have said this day of your time, when you are in the appropriate, creative, playful place to do so, in whatever way you wish, write these 4 words down and display them in your home or wherever you wish to remind you of your desire to define your dedication to detachment. No expectation, but allowance, allowance, allowance. Have fun with these exercises. The more fun you have with them, the faster they will expand. And the more you will recognize how much fun you deserve to have. Our unconditional love to you all. Good day.
Hello, Bashar. I would like to get more explanation out of you about the mind-body relationship. You've said that the mind exists within the body within the soul. Right. But that's pretty vague. I think. Like, when you say mind, does that include the higher mind, or is it just the physical mind? And as a healer, like, my experiences definitely would agree with the idea of the mind existing with, like, the physical mind existing within the body. That much seems very clear. But logically, I still grapple with that one because our physical health is so impacted by the beliefs and definitions that we have in our mind. So it would appear that the body is subject to the mind, even though I know that can't be, that the mind has to be subject to the body. And I would love some great examples, or at least one good example of how the mind is subject to the body. That would be helpful. Please comment. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, in some cases, you're accurate, and in some, you're sort of mixing your metaphors. But to start simply, often, in most cases, when we say body, mind, and spirit, the spirit part is what represents the higher mind in that definition or in that example. Although we understand that spirit can be a different thing, although it still includes the higher mind. So the idea is that, yes, your body can be conditioned by the mind, and the mind can be conditioned by the body in a sort of cyclic feedback loop. What you believe yourself to be, what you think of yourself as, can have an effect on how the body behaves. And how the body behaves can reinforce or have an effect on who you think you are, or what you believe about yourself to be true. So that kind of works in tandem with one another. The idea is that the higher mind is above and beyond the idea of the physical mind. Physical mind is simply that which allows you to have a physical experience expressed as the idea of a physical body, because that's just a projection of consciousness, as all physical reality is. So the body is, in a sense, the spirit projecting a portion of itself in a certain way that experiences itself as a physical being. And in order to experience oneself as a physical being, you have to have an organizational pattern of energy within that physical being that represents the physical mind, so it can be aware consciously of the experience it is having. The soul, as we have said, is sort of like unfired clay. The spirit is the ceramic that is the fired clay that represents the particular specific experience you're having as a particular physical identity, and therefore is contained within the oversoul and the soul ultimately. But the higher mind is a splitting of the soul into the non-physical guiding higher mind and the physical mind having the physical experience. Once the physical mind exists, then the body is subject to the belief systems in the physical mind, and again, the body can reinforce those particular physical beliefs within the physical mind. We do not know if this is a clear enough explanation for you since we're not interacting with you, but generally speaking, you have the oversoul, the soul, splitting itself into the non-physical higher mind, then the physical mind, which then can have an experience of creating the spirit that is then once again taking that specific physical life experience and incorporating it back into the soul's experience and feeding that back into the oversoul's experience, which feeds it back into all that is.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
So nice to connect with you again. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity.
It is our passion and our pleasure. Please speak up.
Sure. I also want to thank you for that monologue. My heart is definitely racing after listening to that.
Oh, all right.
I had some questions for you that are a little off topic, if that's okay.
All right. That's all right.
So the first question actually had two parts to it, and it mainly has to do with state of being.
Yeah.
Lately, I've been feeling that I'm able to embody that frequency, that energy of my future desired self, who in this case is a rap star. That's one of my biggest dreams is to be a successful rap star one day.
All right. Now, one moment. Let me stop you.
Sure.
If rap is your passion, don't add all sorts of insistences or conditions on how that needs to express yourself when you use the word successful.
Okay.
Because the meaning you may be giving that may not be, it may be, but it may not be the meaning that actually serves you. So you are successful when you are simply expressing your passion in any way, shape, or form. Don't necessarily limit it by putting conditions on what you think being a successful rap star looks like for you. Watch your insistences.
So I'm really glad you said that. Is that maybe my negative ego coming into play, thinking that
it's mostly your training. It's mostly your training saying, well, this is the only way that can actually look. Just relax that definition and be open to the idea that there may be other ways in which that can be represented as successful. You don't know.
Just because I can't imagine it doesn't mean it's not, there's not some higher, maybe reality.
You use what you can imagine. You use what representation you do have as a way of getting you excited, but you drop that particular representation and stay in the state of being to allow the higher mind to bring you the way that actually works best for you. And it might be what you envision, but it might not be. So don't limit it by insisting on the particular way in which you've been taught to think. Just use it to your advantage to get you excited, but don't insist on that picture because it could happen some other way that could be many times better.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm really glad you said that. It feels like I've heard you say in the past it's about state of being.
Yes.
And it seems like I keep making my goal or my state of being conditional on.
Yes.
Okay.
On having it to look like a certain thing in order for you to determine that you have been successful. Let me put it to you this way through an example.
Okay.
Let's just say all of a sudden synchronicity, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, I'm just opening your mind up a little bit.
Sure.
Let's say synchronicity suddenly brings you an opportunity to arrive at a children's hospital. And in that children's hospital, you do your rap for those children to allow them to feel more excited, more healthy, more uplifted. Now, what if that's all it turns out to be? Would you not know that you would still be getting absolute joy out of that, even though it's not traditionally what many people would think of as a traditional music career?
Right. Right.
So,
no, I actually, yeah.
All right. So allow for different ways in which you could be of service by expressing your joy and your passion and your gift. I'm not, again, saying it has to limit itself to any one way. You may be doing it 12 different ways. But the idea is that if you only insist that one way is the way, you will never experience the idea of the 11 other ways it could also be.
That's deep, Bashar. I'm really glad. My follow-up question to that is like irrelevant now, but I'm trying to process what you just said.
Oh, it's not that difficult. You understand the concept that I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think it comes down to this fear that I have. Actually, I have a couple of fears, but one is that, I'm going to follow the formula, act on my passion, make music, and then I'm going to be 40 years old one day, living under a bridge or something. And
well, that's extremely interesting that you would pick that kind of a scenario as the logical outcome of following your passion, which means you have a completely contradictory definition of what your passion is all about. Because you're saying, if I follow my passion, something that's not representative of my passion might happen. That's an absolute impossibility. Or even if it did happen physically that way, it would actually be representative of your passion and you wouldn't mind it. So the idea is to trust that the state of being will express itself through any outcome that is truly representative of your passion, no matter how it looks. What if living under a bridge for a day, a week, or a year actually improved your ability to deliver your rap songs, because now you've experienced a slice of life that allows you to go deeper in the content that you will share with other people? Would that not be part of your passion?
I'm definitely starting to see what you're getting at.
All right.
Very, very enlightening. Yeah, I guess, and then it goes to another fear that I have of actually making it, big one day, and then it feels like,
yes, you can't handle it.
Yeah, maybe just like every move I make would be under a microscope, and then
so what? So what?
Yeah.
So what? That's your mantra. So what? Because again, if you understand that you are truly in alignment with your passion, whatever it is that happens is going to be an expression of that and will actually feel correct. Now, if it doesn't feel correct, that gives you the opportunity to examine the fear-based beliefs within you to make sure you actually are following your passion, because maybe you took another course that really wasn't representative of it, and the feeling is guiding you back into the true path for you. Or again, it gives you the opportunity to let go of that fear-based belief so that you can truly feel where you are as being representative of the outcome of your passion.
I feel like on either case of either of those fears, those two extremes, the underlying fear is just embarrassment or maybe like feeling humiliated or something, making a mistake. So definitely something to...
All right, but if you make a mistake, isn't that something you can learn from and do differently next time?
Right, especially if I define it in the most positive light possible.
Exactly. How you experience anything is how you define it.
Nice.
So I'm not saying you suddenly recognize negative things as positive things. I'm saying you recognize that even when something is generated by a negative experience, you can still get a positive experience from it if you stay in a positive state. Remember, That is one of the stages of the formula. You stay in a positive state no matter what happens, so you can get the benefit out of it.
Right.
Otherwise, you'll only experience the negative side of it by defining it in a negative way. Oh, this shouldn't have happened. I did something wrong. This doesn't belong in my life. I'm not capable. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy, blah, blah, blah.
And then
if that's what you prefer, then that's what you'll get.
Right. Awesome. Awesome. So glad you said that, Bashar. Thank you so much for your time.
It is our passion and our pleasure.
Really appreciate it. Till next time.
Good day.
Good day.
Hi, Bashar. This is Karen again. I've got another question for you, and it is about cats once more. So, you told me in a previous conversation that cats do not reincarnate, but there is something peculiar about my cats. They seem to be connected to one another. Now, my cats are not cats. They truly guide me. They truly help me. They're just magical. And I was wondering, do animals, and then especially cats, have an oversoul, just as we humans have? And the cats that truly take on this mission, maybe, to guide humans, do they come from the same oversoul? Thank you for broadening up my perspective on this. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, cats can have an oversoul. Now, when we said cats don't reincarnate, we say it in the same way that we say nothing actually does, because everything exists all at the same time, and reincarnation is an illusion from the physical perspective. You can create a sensation in physical reality, a perspective from physical reality that one life happens after another, but the idea is that it's simply a connection to things that exist at the same time and share similar frequencies so that you make that connection and think it's the same being over and over again when it's not. Different extensions of the same oversoul happening from the oversoul's perspective at the same time can play out in linear time-based physical reality as if they're in different times, all connecting back to the same oversoul. So reincarnation is the experience you can have from the physical perspective, but mechanically speaking, there's no such thing for humans, animals, or anything else, because everything exists all at the same time, and you make energetic connections to all these other things to create a linear continuity between them that makes it seem as if reincarnation is the mechanism, when all it is the experience from a particular perspective. But yes, there can be similar vibrations in cats that will be necessary to work with different humans in different ways, or other beings in different ways. That creates a continuity that human may need to experience in order to understand what's going on as the lesson being reflected.
Hi, Bashar.
Good day, good day.
I'm Rem from Sarasota, Florida. How are you doing today?
Perfect, and you?
Good. I'm really good.
All right.
Recently, I've been excited about exploring the Taoist permission slip called Nea Kang and how it relates to the concepts you share with us.
All right. Is it working for you?
One more time.
Is it working for you?
Yes. I'm asking some really interesting questions, I think.
All right.
Practitioners of Nea Kang store energy in the Dantian, or the subnavel. Taoist practitioners theorize that is an optimal place to store energy because of some of the first cells created in conception.
All right.
I was curious why it seems like energy is stored in some places of the body more than others. It seems like the body is entirely comprised of energy, so wouldn't any part of it be receptive?
You can use it that way, but again, because you are experiencing a physical reality and have agreed to abide by the conditions and so-called rules of physical reality and processes that exist in physical reality, you can also diversify and look at things in ways that compartmentalize things that may be a way that works better for some people than others. So you can say, well, because this is the first cell created. I'm going to focus on that as having the ability to store a particular kind of energy for my purposes. So it's really all workable. You can look at it any way you want, but if you've gravitated to some particular perspective like that, there may be a reason for it. And it could be the reason that that is the perspective that will work for you, or it could be the reason that gets you to ask the question, can't it be done in any part of the body? So you have to determine which answer is true for you with your investigation.
I was also curious about how this relates to, because it seemed to me that it would just be automatic by following the formula.
Yes, it is.
Types of energy.
It is.
How does it mechanically, how does that look?
How does what look? Following the formula?
No, I mean, when does energy get involved in the formula? What is happening with energy in the formula?
Your energy overall is raising its frequency so that you can become a more sensitive receiver and an antenna to higher frequency information from the higher mind, from spirit, from other dimensional beings that can help guide you in figuring out what techniques, what permission slips work best for you.
Okay. And so there's another thing too, like the idea that where attention goes, chi flows, and attention is the first primary factor, and then chi is a secondary factor.
Yes, well, the idea is exactly the same thing as acting on your passion. That's your focus. And when you act on your passion, all the energy of your being goes into becoming the driving engine, the organizing principle, the path of least resistance. That's the same thing in different terms.
Oh, okay. And is intention related to attention?
When you follow your passion, where else would your attention be?
But I mean, intention.
Where else would your intention be? If you're following your passion, you simply don't have an intention to do anything else at that moment. That's what we mean by it becomes the driving engine.
How do you discern intention from expectation?
Expectation in its negative sense is insistence.
Okay. So intention is just positive expectation.
Intention is just it's just the way you focus your energy by following your passion. Yes.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
My last question is, what happens when we get goosebumps? Let's say we hear a meaningful speech or there's a change in music. What causes goosebumps for us in that way?
You are aligning with the frequency and all of your little antennas perk up.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. That's all.
You are very welcome. Have a good day.
You also.